One. Hey guys, I'm Ross Copperman. And this is Alex Mendoza, multi-talented songwriter, producer, who made this amazing track for Somewhere There's a Light On. And this is actually my first time seeing this track and seeing what he's done in Cubase here. And it's just crazy to see it, all the pink and purples, and looks like an Easter egg hunt.
A lot of colors.
Me and Alex made this whole project like this in the pandemic, and so just sharing things back and forth is just so cool to, for the first time, see this. And the coolest thing about Cubase that I love is that you can shift things like 10 BPM, right? And like
it's really good. And yeah, it's just like it's awesome at like shifting everything over, whether it's pitches, whether it's little snare things, you know, tuning the snares and kicks or whatever. I love it for that. So that's why I was more recently on Cubase, but yeah, I love it. And all the colors, you know.
That's amazing. So dude, so what are we looking at? Is this like, so mainly MIDI stuff at the bottom? Like I see some strings. Like show us what did you start with on this track to make it? Like what's your process, dude?
Well, I mean, as you can see, like there's so many different, you know, these are all the different like tracks, and there are ones that I even had to bounce and put in a separate folder, and because we would always go through different, you know, chord ideas and drums and bounce different things and try it with this and change keys or whatever. So going through it all was like, you know, had to make sure not only things were organized, but like just to see what vibes fit with what. And especially in a session like this, it's like you have audio files, you have MIDI, whatever. But you know, with these, I think what I remember starting out with is hearing, you know, the elements in the version you sent over was awesome. But I think it was also seeing kind of like where the track was going to be headed, like what is it we wanted when that chorus hit, you know. Because I think like the original one, this was a while ago now, but that was like mostly just guitar and you know, like kind of guitar and drums and stuff, but it was more acoustic and kind of driven, right?
Totally.
So yeah, it was kind of like kind of just to get the vibe and bring something fresh and new. I remember having, let's see if it was this. You can hear that all right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it was kind of starting with that and then kind of building like a harmony underneath it. So I think having this.
Oh yeah.
So like having that going, and then doing this is Omnisphere with a lot of tweaks, but and so having that.
Oh, is that one there? Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of builds the harmony a little bit. And I think like so many things are always overproduced these days. So it was kind of nice to, you know, kind of let the vocal breathe during that part, to have it really build to this pre and then really, you know, go in on the post here.
So if you can see on the track there, it says acapella, like on the vocal. So for everyone who doesn't know, like Alex will take an acapella vocal and then just make a track from that, which I think is the coolest process. Just taking an acapella, no chords or anything, and then just making your own version, which is,
it's fun. Yeah.
Alex, what does the beat sound like on the, like where's the beat happening in these tracks?
Yeah, sure. So kind of like
lost when you're cold, when you can't see the road.
Nothing here.
The sky runs out of gold and you need a ride home. Take it down, feed your soul. If you ever find yourself alone and you need a place that feels like home, somewhere there's a light on.
And then here we almost had the drop. I think I was messing around with the drop there for a while. And I think we were like thinking, oh, maybe we let it breathe. So then when it kind of goes into it.
And the world is kind of heartless. When you're reaching in the darkness, somewhere there's a light on. Somewhere there's a light on. When your faith is on its knees, no waste.
And then you kept the kick going through that verse. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that there's no drums up until that drop, man. It just makes it so impactful. It's cool that you were able to carry it with the instrumentation all the way to that point.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think one of the biggest things is like we always were trying to go back and forth and just giving each song its own kind of, I don't know, dynamics and
Yeah.
I don't know, just like having a song move throughout and making sure it's not, kind of too straightforward and bringing that edge to it.
What's your favorite thing about Cubase and working on these songs in Cubase versus another platform?
I think Cubase it allows a lot of flexibility with like, I mean, I know some other DAWs do stuff like this, but like with this, like say I laid something down, like this is just the piano, MIDI. But then like if I want to do, a new version, I can just do a straight new version. I mean, other DAWs do that, but like, I think it's just, one of the biggest things was being able to do a lot of little stuff like that. And then also when it comes to the pitching and the time shifting, all of that was like huge, because especially like there were certain kicks I would use that I loved, but like I really just wanted to have it be like shortened or whatever, so it gives it that punch.
Oh wow, that's interesting, dude.
Yeah, and then there were even times where like
shortening the kick gives it more punch, you're saying? What do you shorten?
Sometimes, yeah, like kind of having it hit and then maybe layering it with like a stomp type of kick that like gives it more of a broader spectrum. So it's honestly, it's about just messing around with it, because there are times where I've done the complete opposite and it felt better,
I know you like to mess with like attacks and releases a lot on things and synths and kick.
A lot. Yeah. And I've learned that over the years too, because before I think I would just drop stuff in, it sounded cool, and that was it.
It's kind of what I do. I don't go as deep as you. I don't tweak like you, and that's what makes you great. You tweak on the things like the attacks and the releases,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think it's like just being, I mean, it's funny, like I don't use a lot of hardware synths and things like that, but I know that's what a lot of people love, is that they're able to kind of make a sound that's unique, and you tweak every little thing. But I do the same thing on here. It's just a different kind of work ethic and style of doing things. So
well, there's a lot of pieces in the drop of this song. Like, do you have a process when you make a drop, or is it just it's just kind of feeling it out, or like there's so many things in this drop that you played a minute ago that I never even heard before when you were kind of soloing things out?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is I used to start a lot more with like drums, and now I feel like I'm finding more like the pulse and like where I'm hearing stuff, and then not really analyzing whether that's a drum, whether that's a kick, a snare, whatever. So like I have to see here. So like some of these, and it's also the subtle things too, I think, in anticipating a record when it drops. So like something, let's see if it's this, like these strings.
Okay.
Is that loud enough there?
Maybe turn those up.
Let's see.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so stuff like that kind of gives the pulse as it builds. Is kind of, I don't know, I feel like it just plays tricks on our brains sometimes, and like kind of like anticipating kind of how that feels gonna be.
Can we hear the drop as a whole piece on this? Crazy. I never knew there was like strings in there doing kind of like a dun, dun. I never knew that was in there.
Yeah,
but I can hear
it's
it in
very subtle too. Like,
Yeah.
because I think leveling is everything. Because just because it's not obvious, like you're still feeling it.
yeah.
Like to me, a lot of these things. Was it this one here?
Oh, that's cool, dude. What's that?
Yeah, this is another Omnisphere thing. But it's funny because
That's
as much as
awesome.
like I always want to geek out in like different synths and everything, by the time I'm like done messing with it,
That's
it's
a
like
great
it
synth right
could have
there,
been
dude.
anything, you know.
It's so funny. I would
Um,
have never like. It's just cool to see this. I'd have never known any of this stuff was in there. I just didn't know what was in the soup of this. It's just cool to see.
yeah, yeah. It's and honestly, it's also, you know, when we were going through so many different records, it just that's, you know, one of the biggest things is like you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot, like that's in there, and like
Yeah.
there's no way to keep track. But I
Like-
think that's the beauty and the fun in it, you know.
Like, what did you do to the vocal? Ooh, there's some oohs in this part, in this drop. But did you just?
That's right.
They're kind of buried
Um,
in there. I don't know even know where they are.
let's
Is it on the
see.
main vocal? Oh yeah, got it. It's just part of
Yeah.
that main vocal. Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
and
sounds so
then
cool buried in there.
yeah, because I think like this was a lot of fun because like when you when you have like a track just like this and it feels full, but having those oohs, dropping them in there was like, oh my god, that works so
Yeah.
beautifully. And then with it,
So in terms of, oh, that's awesome. On bass seems to be a big part of like a thing you focus on a lot. I can tell it's like a lot of times one of your tracks, they're just really, the bass always feels really good in the car. Like what are you doing on bass to make it feel so good? Like, is it like a sub bass, like
yeah,
are there
a lot of
multiple
times
layers?
I'm layering,
Yeah.
like I'll layer the like a synth bass, have a sub going
Yeah.
on, and then also making sure, like, because a lot of people will play the bass like I'm not a very good bass player, but like when you're playing the bass, like I think it's important coming from the piano perspective too, like
Yeah.
it can't be muddy, you know, you can't
Yeah.
have like, I know a lot of tracks that I've worked on before of like, I don't know, like you have a sub bass going on with like an 808, and then you have this other synth thing going, but then you're not cutting off the low end on the synth.
Yeah.
Like there's no way you can't, you know, you can fit all of that.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
like
cool.
understanding that is really important, and that's why I think we, you know, kind of were diving in on, because like this, like I have a lot of low end going on, but like I was cutting off, you can't see here with the audio file, but I cut off a lot of the top end.
Oh,
because
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, because if I don't, then you know, any of the strings or stuff that we do,
They won't poke through.
it's not gonna poke through. It's just like too much, and it starts to, like, I think it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff like that, when it has like a lot of mids and things like that. So
Sure.
you just have to play around with it. Like I know some people that are very analytical on it, but yeah, I mean, like we always say, like try and just make it smack.
Absolutely. Is there anything else about this track that was unique, or anything that I haven't asked, or like the bridge? I can't remember. What is the bridge?
One thing though that was really awesome to hear and work on, man, was like your vocals and like the stacks of harmonies and everything. Like that added a lot. And even like when we were messing around with reverbs and you were like trying out new things, like I think that was like just, it brings it all together in a certain tone with like the whole EP, you know.
Do you prefer like a 3-pass vocal, like a middle, left, and right? Do you prefer that?
I think it's either way. I mean,
I never know. I can never. Some songs I feel like call for it, and then others, and then it's like, do you do a double and a triple of the harmony, and then like?
Yeah, I think like it depends on the track, because like there are ones that like that we've done where it's, you know, just piano, and then it's like, oh my God, let's layer this. But
Yeah.
then I feel like there are also records that are just piano, and then we're like, man,
Yeah.
those stacks are maybe too much. So I think it's a really like a case by case basis.
Yeah.
But I think what is really cool is messing with a ton of reverbs and
Totally.
you know, even sending over Monty a mix and having his perspective on a, you know, some of the reverbs and
Yeah.
space within a record. It's all just, it's really cool.
It's
Yeah.
cool that you kind of mix it to a level, and then you like to get it out to this guy Monty who's mixed this project, and he takes what you've done and then just carves it even more, which is cool.
Yeah, and he's so good at kind of, it's nice to have that different perspective, but
Because
also
you're a great mixer. You're a great mixer yourself. So it's interesting that you like to have a whole nother perspective. That's cool.
Yeah, because it polishes things up, and it's kind of, especially once we're diving in, like by the time it's ready for mixing, I mean, you and I are going nuts on like, shit, is this the BPM? And then you wake up the next morning and then you think it's, you know, it should be even faster or whatever. It's just like, we go nuts. So I think it's important to also have someone that sees the vision that, you know, you have, but also like,
we're so similar, dude. Matching sweatshirts, and we all say,
I know.
We're both like, is this good? It's good, right? Oh, is the tempo right? Oh, I don't know if the tempo's right.
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, I think it's especially just diving into so many records at once. It's not just like, here's the single and then you're done, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's
Alex, you're amazing, bro. Thanks for
you're amazing, man.
Sharing this and behind the scenes of what you do. And I know this is a sacred space to show your session. So I appreciate you talking about it, dude.
No, always, man. Well, it's always a blast working. So you're amazing too, man.
Alex Mendoza.
Ross Copperman.